What is it that makes, speaking of your lodge and talking to the guests, they love it here? What makes your lodge different?
Staff. The care that's put into their selection, mainly, and then making sure that this is by far the best place to work. So people really, really want to work here. And just by the way we treat people all along the line, and profit sharing. Everybody who's been working for us for 3 months has, if we hit a certain profit level, gets a profit share. If they've only been working for 3 months, they get a quarter share for the year. If they've been working a year or more, they get a full share.
How many places do profit sharing?
I don't know. I don't know why they don't. It's crazy. So if I'm spending money on even English classes and they don't see that that is profitable, they start to wonder about it. Because of Survivor and all those screwed up shows, there was this idea, there was this tremendous thing that, you just weren't doing anything if you didn't have all these tiki torches
right.
going on. So we had all these tiki torches. And the staff sat down and figured out how much we're spending on it, and said, what's the return on investment on all this kerosene? Without even, and by the way, we're trying to be good to the environment.
And you're burning kerosene.
So now we only do them with the dinners up on the point there, on the garden.
In the garden where we saw the 10-foot crocodile.
Right.
Sitting there.
He gets to have dinner too.
We thought maybe you placed it there.
Disney does our crocodile.
When it jumped into the river, that's when I figured out it was real.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to your tiki torches.
Yeah, this started about a year ago, and there were still tiki torches when I was here in July, and it was being debated. How is it worth it to what it adds to the guest experiences, and how do guests feel? And we start talking to guests. And I wasn't very involved in any of this, but now I just see that we're not doing tiki torches anymore. And they're close to the situation. So if they're properly motivated, and one of those motivations is if we hit the trigger, and we expect to, then there's a complicated system of profit sharing. But after that, a certain amount of percentage of the profit goes into a pool that's distributed to everybody.
So the staff is part of the decision-making body then?
Yeah, and why wouldn't you want to have that when they're so close to it and they see things that we each bring a unique perspective to the problem of how best to run this place. And theirs alone won't work. And mine alone doesn't work either. They see it from a perspective that I could never see it from. Obviously, they're here all the time. They have a very, very intimate and ongoing connection to the guests and how everything else works. So their input is absolutely vital. If we all are on the same page, and the page is that the more we can delight guests, the better it will be for everybody. If you ask almost every hotel manager, and the good ones probably know they're not telling you the truth, but the politically correct thing to say is that the guests are the most important people for us as managers. It doesn't work right. The staff is my most important people. Yes. How much effect can I have on guests?
Sure.
The last time I was here was July. But even when I was here all the time, the first year, Eddie got sick and ended up in the hospital. He has asthma, and he got a complication of asthma, and he was in the hospital for a couple of months.
Eddie's your manager?
Eddie was the guy who was the manager who runs the fishing boats.
Eddie's the one who caught the 300-pound bull shark out here. Where did he catch that from?
Right off the dock. Eddie had asthma, and so Yolanda's sister was taking care of the kids. Has always lived with us and taken care of the kids.
Yolanda's your
my wife, yeah. And so and the kids are now grown up and grandkids and the whole 9 yards. But So Eddie's in the hospital, and I'm calling him 2 or 3 times a day to figure out how to do things. And I was completely counting on the staff to tell me how to do things here. And at that time, we had 10 dark little rooms, and we were completely full the whole time. There were no other hotels here. There was a lot of pent-up demand for this, and so we were constantly full. We had a lot of at that time there were a lot of fishermen, and Yolanda was cooking, and I was greeting the guests and doing what I was doing. And any time I couldn't figure out what to do, I'd find anybody I could from the staff, and I'd ask them what to do, and they'd tell me.
Mm-hmm.
If it seemed sort of confused to me, I'd keep asking.
So,
I spent an hour talking to old staff members this morning on the way to breakfast.